Hello everybody, it's part 2 of the pocket shawl tutorial. If you are new, go back and watch my last part 1 of the pocket shawl tutorial because this video will make so much more sense. So go ahead and pop over to that one, and then once you've finished that and completed your part 1, you can move over to part 2 back onto here and join us to complete your pocket shawl. Now we are going to finish off the opposite side of our pocket shawl, which is the same kind of thing as the first starter rows, and then we're going to make 2 pockets and sew them on. So that's what this part 2 is going to consist of. So I'm just going to get started. So you should have finished your 6 rows of the 3-row pattern repeat, if that makes sense. You should have finished on working double crochets. Again, I'm working in UK terminology, so this is single crochet in US and double crochet in UK. So you should have ended on the double crochet row, and now we are ready to start the opposite side of the pocket shawl. So we're going to begin this by chaining 3 and turning our work over. So 1, 2, 3, and turn your work over. It's going to be quite hard for me to film because of how big this piece is, but hopefully you should be able to see what I'm trying to show. So for this row, I'm going to call this row number 1 of part number 2, just because it's easier than saying row number 20 or how many rows we are on. So row number 1 of part number 2 is going to be a row of treble crochets. Again, this is double crochet in US terms and treble in UK terminology. So we're going to miss this first stitch because our chain 3 is going to count as that treble crochet, and then you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and you're going to work that all the way along. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that is going to be your first row on this opposite side of the pocket shawl. So you're chaining 3, turning your work, and then you're going to work treble crochets all the way along to the end of the row, and I will meet you back when you have completed that. Okay then everybody, just a few more rows to go. So I've just finished my row of treble crochets. I'm going to chain 3 and turn my work once again. So we actually have just a few more rows of working in the back bar of the stitches, which you should be familiar with now as we did that at the very beginning. So I'm actually going to leave you now for a little bit of a repetition. You're going to work 4 rows of working treble crochet in the back bar only. So you're going to skip this first stitch because the chain 3 counts as that treble crochet, and then into the back bar of the stitches here and here, you're going to work into those stitches like so. Again, they can be fiddly to work into, but once you get the hang of it, that is super easy. So you're going to work that all the way along for this row and then another 3 more rows. So in total you have 4 rows of working in treble crochet in the back bars, and that is how you are going to almost finish off. We just have 1 more row after that. So pause the video here, work 4 rows of treble crochet in the back bar only, and I will meet you back when you have finished that. So I've just completed that repeat. So you can see that at the top we have the 3 rows of rib, which just finishes off the other side of the shawl in a nice way. Again, I just want to quickly apologise for the lighting, but I do want to get this video filmed. so it's a little bit shadowy, but hopefully you'll still be able to see what I am doing. So we have one row left of the pocket shawl, and then we just have our pockets to do, and it's just a row of double crochets in the back loops. So I'm going to begin this row with a chain of 1, and I'm just going to turn my work over, and I'm going to work a normal double crochet in the first stitch just to secure that down, and then into every other stitch I'm going to work in the back loops again. So inserting your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and into the next stitch, and so on, all the way to the end of your row. So this is your final row for the pocket shawl, working double crochets in the back loops only, and that will finish off your row. So pause the video here and complete that all the way along, and I will meet you at the end when we're all finished. Okay then, so I've just finished that row of double crochets in the back loops, and now we are ready to actually detach our yarn. So I'm just going to chain 1 and cut my yarn so that I can sew in that end when I'm ready. So this is what yours should be looking like. So you should have the first foundation rows, then you should have your block of pattern repeat, and then you should have your ending rows as well. It should be nice and long and cozy for you when it's all ready. So the final thing we have to do is make our pockets. So we're going to make 2 pockets. I'm going to show you how to make them now, and then we're going to sew them on, and then we're all done with our pocket shawl. So we're done with the main piece, so we can move that to the side and we can start on our pockets, which are very, very similar to the piece of work that we've got. They're just a miniature kind of version of them. Okay then, to begin we're going to make a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever way that you prefer. Going to insert your hook nicely. We're going to start by chaining 30. So this is the number of chains that you need for your pocket, both pockets. They're nice and wide and nice and deep so that you can keep your hands cozy. Okay then, I've just finished my 30 chains, so this is about the width of your pocket's going to be. We're going to do a foundation row of treble crochets. So we're going to work into the 4th chain from the hook. So we don't count this chain on our hook. We're missing 1, 2, 3, and working a treble crochet into this 4th chain. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to work that all the way along. Like so. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So go ahead and work that all the way along for row number 1. You should end up with a total of 28 treble crochets, including that chain 3 that we worked at the beginning. Okay then, so there I've just worked my foundation row of treble crochets. Now we are going to chain 3 and turn our work. So for row number 2 and the next 6 rows actually, we're going to work treble crochets into the back bar of the stitches. Once again, working into the back bars, because that's what mainly this pattern is about. So again, we're going to skip this first stitch because our chain 3 is going to count as our first treble crochet, and we're going to work treble crochets into these back bars of the stitches. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. yarn over, find that back bar of the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2. You're going to repeat this all the way along your work for row number 2. So I've just finished row number 2 and we're going to be end this row with just a normal treble into that top of that chain 3. So for row number 3, chain 3 and turn your work, and you're going to work row number 3 to row number 7 in the exact same way that you just worked row number 2. So you're going to have a total at the end of 7 rows of treble crochet. This first row was our foundation row, and then you're going to work 6 rows of working treble crochet in the back bars. So you've got this one, and then you've got 5 more to go until you have a total of 7 rows to start your pocket with. So I'm going to go ahead and work that now. Pause the video here, work treble crochets in the back bars for another 5 rows, or until you have a total of 7 rows. Okay then, so I've just finished that repeat, and this is what yours should be looking like. So you can see the ridges by working in the back bars only. So now we're on to row number 8, and row number 8 is once more working in the back bars, and we're going to work double crochets. So chain 1 and turn your work over, and for row number 8 all you're going to do is work double crochets in the back bars. So we begin the round with just a normal double crochet to kind of secure that down, and then all of the other ones we're going to work in the back bars. So insert your hook, finding that back bar, yarn over and yarn over, pull through 2. So go ahead and pause the video, work double crochets in the back bars only, and I will meet you back when you have completed row number 8. And then you're just going to finish off your row with a normal double crochet in the top of that chain 3. So I've just worked row number 8 all the way across, and now we're ready to move on to row number 9, which is a little bit more interesting. So chain 3 and turn your work, that's going to count as your treble crochet. And for this row we're going to work bead stitches, so you should be familiar with this stitch now from working part 1 of your pocket shawl. But if you're not, if you're still struggling, I will just go through it quickly now. So you're going to skip this first stitch, which this chain 3 counts as your treble crochet, and into the next stitch you're going to work a treble crochet, and then you're going to wrap some stitches around it. So yarn over, go behind your treble, yarn over, bring it forward, yarn over, go behind your treble, yarn over, bring it forward, yarn over, pull through all of those loops, and there you've worked your bead stitch. You're going to skip the next stitch, moving on to the stitch after that one, working a treble, wrap your stitches, pull through all of those loops, skip the next stitch, work into the next stitch. So that's all you're going to do for this row, and I will meet you back when I've completed that. Okay, then to finish off I just have 2 more stitches, so we skip this stitch, and then into the last stitch you're just going to work 1 final treble to complete that row. So there is your bead stitch row. We're now going to work a row of double crochets to secure that down, which we always do after a bead stitch row. So chain 1, turn your work, and work double crochets into every single stitch along this row. Again, just to quickly clarify, I'm working in UK terminology. This is double crochet in UK terminology, and single crochet in US terms. So go ahead and work that all the way along and I will meet you at the end. And then your final double crochet in the top of that chain 3. Okay then, I'm ready to move on to the next row. For this row, we're going to do the same row as the trebles and the chain row, if you remember from the main part. So you're going to begin with a chain of 4, turn your work, and that chain of 4 counts as your treble crochet and your chain 1. You're going to skip this first stitch because that treble counts as the stitch, and then you're going to skip the next stitch because the chain 1 counts as the stitch for that stitch, if that makes sense. And then to the next chain you're going to work a treble crochet. You're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a treble crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, working a treble crochet all the way along your row, and again I will meet you back when you have finished. So I just have one last stitch to work here, and I'm just going to work a treble crochet into that stitch. Okay then, so we're going to do another row of the bead stitch now for our next row. So chain 3 and turn your work. So you're going to skip that first treble because your chain 3 counts as the treble for that stitch, and then into all of your other treble spaces you're going to work a bead stitch. So work a treble, yarn over behind, yarn over in front, yarn over behind, yarn over in front, pull through all of those loops, and there you have your bead stitch. So you're going to do that into every single one of your treble crochets. You're just going to leave your chain spaces to be chain spaces and just work the bead stitch into the trebles. And once again I will meet you back when you have finished the bead stitch row. And then into that chain 4 you're going to work a treble crochet the top of that chain 3, like so. So that's our little bit of the pattern kind of carrying on onto the pocket. Now we're going to do a few more rows once again of working in the back bar. Not quite yet, we've got one row left to do. So for this row you're just going to work treble crochets into every single stitch. So chain 3, turn your work, and work treble crochets into the stitches. So missing the first stitch because that chain 3 counts as the stitch, but into every other stitch along for this row work a treble crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way along. Okay then, for the next 2 rows you're going to work treble crochets in the back bars. So chain 3 to begin each row, missing the first stitch and working treble crochets into the back bars only, and you're going to do this for 2 rows. So this will be your first one, and then you're going to do one more after that. So pause the video here, work the treble crochets in the back bars only for this row and the next row, and then we only have one more row to go to finish off your pocket. So I will meet you back when you have finished those 2 rows. Okay then, so final row, I've just worked those 2 rows in the back bars. Final row is a row of double crochet in the back bars only. So chain 1, turn your work, secure your work down with a normal double crochet, and then into every single stitch along work a double crochet in the back bars. So I'm going to leave you once again to work that all the way along your row, and then I will come back to you at the end of finishing off the pocket. So I've just chained one, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a length so that I can sew the pocket on. Obviously if you run out of the yarn from leaving your tail, you can just use another little bit of yarn, but I like to leave a good enough tail so that I can sew that on. So obviously you've got two hands, you need two pockets, so go ahead and repeat the rows that you've worked for this pocket once more so you have two copies of this. You can go back and rewind the video. I know they're done quite quickly, but they're quite similar to the main piece that we did, so I just wanted to show you kind of the rhythm of the rows and leave you to complete that. So I'm going to go ahead and make another one of these pockets as well so that I have two, and then once we finish that, all we need to do is sew them onto the main body of the scarf. We will have finished our crocheted pocket shawl. So go ahead and pause the video here, repeat this once again, and I will meet you back when I have finished that and we have two pockets. Okay then, home stretch now. I've finished both of my pockets, so you should have two pockets now. And I'm just going to quickly show you where I tend to sew them on. So if we look at our piece of work, it's quite hard to show because of how large the piece actually is. We have the two sides that have the rib kind of stitching, and then we have the main kind of body of the piece. You're going to sew your pocket in the main body of the piece, and I like to sew it 5 bead stitches upwards and then in the centre. So if this is the bottom of the pocket shawl, we're going to lay the pocket on like so. You're going to sew these 3 sides, leaving the top side free because obviously you want a space to put your hands. And if you see, I count 5 bead stitches up, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and I sew it along that side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, sewing all along this side, all along the bottom and all along this side, leaving the top side free. Okay then, so as you can see, I've sewn on my pocket, making sure that I have the rib either side and the pocket in the centre. So now I'm going to do this on the opposite side. You've got to make sure that you are on the right side. You're not turning your work over and then sewing a pocket onto the wrong side. Make sure you have the same exact side. So this is my other side. You can see I've got a few tails that I need to sew in. Again, you're going to find your pocket, you're going to lay it on your work, 5 bead stitches up and just in the centre of that body like so. You're sewing along the bottom here, up these 2 sides, but keeping the top free as I've said, because that's where your hands are going to go in your pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and sew that on and then we are finished. So as you can see, just finished sewing on pocket number 2, and now all that's left is to sew in all of these ends from where we've joined new balls of yarn. But that is it for the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like if you did and comment down below what future videos you'd like to see. Subscribe so you never miss a video and you can become part of this wonderful knitting and crochet community. Thank you all, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye!